The power of non-reaction. Imagine a tense moment at work. Someone snaps an insult across the table. Instinctively, you might want to fire back or lash out. But what if instead, you simply breathed and listened? In that pause, between stimulus and response, lies your greatest strength. Viktor Frankl's words remind us that our power is in choosing our response. When we refuse to be baited, we break the cycle of anger. As Elizabeth Kenny wisely said, "He who angers you conquers you." In other words, by not reacting impulsively, we remain in control of ourselves and our day. In this way, non-reaction is not weakness but a declaration of self-mastery. It means holding still in the storm and tending to your own stability. The real shift happens in that silent moment. Instead of being thrown off balance by every provocation, you become like a calm lake reflecting harsh words without ripples. This inner calm frees you. As a modern psychologist notes, techniques like stop, take a breath, observe, proceed, intentionally create that pause between trigger and action ahead. This mental space lets you choose confidence over chaos, turning raw emotion into thoughtful power. Stoic wisdom. Choosing your response. Ancient Stoics taught that resilience comes from within. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, famously urged, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, a rude comment is only as upsetting as the meaning you give it. Seneca and Marcus Aurelius echoed this, advising us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, and accept what we cannot. Epictetus even spelled it out. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are our own actions. Things not in our control are whatever are not our actions. By embracing this dichotomy, we free ourselves from needless turmoil. Practically, Stoicism teaches calm acceptance. For example, if a boss scolds you unfairly, a Stoic perspective is to note the insult but not take it personally. You might mentally step back, breathe, and say, "I hear your concern," instead of retorting. Marcus Aurelius described finding strength in stillness. If you can cut free of impressions that cling to the mind, make yourself, as Empedocles says, a sphere rejoicing in its perfect stillness. In other words, even an emperor learned that cutting off worry about past and future creates tranquility now. By choosing not to react on impulse, we actually do the hard work that many avoid. Reacting can feel like victory, but Stoics warn it hands power to others. As Epictetus also noted, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. When you refuse to give that power away, you stay the master of your own mind. Over time, practicing this inner restraint builds mental muscle. Every time you pause and respond calmly, you reinforce the habit of self-discipline, turning challenges into lessons in composure. Eastern perspectives. Stillness and compassion. Eastern philosophies offer a complementary view of non-reaction. The Buddha taught that responding to hate with more hate only deepens suffering. In the Dhammapada he says, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." In practice, that means if someone lashes out at us, responding with kindness or simple silence can neutralize conflict. Even if the words were undeserved, choosing not to react gives you the moral high ground and often disarms the other person. Taoist wisdom also praises quiet strength. Lao Tzu wrote, "Mastering others is power. Mastering yourself is true strength." This teaches that real power lies in inner mastery, not in controlling or retaliating against others. When we keep stillness inside, as Deepak Chopra later paraphrased, in the midst of chaos, keep stillness inside of you. We become like water flowing around obstacles. We adapt instead of collide. A heated argument can deflate when met with calm words and a gentle posture. This does not mean ignoring injustice. Rather, it means responding from wisdom. Mindfulness traditions emphasize observing thoughts and feelings without immediate reaction. For example, if a student in a classroom taunts a classmate, the mindful teacher might notice rising anger but stay composed. The teacher might say quietly, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and continue calmly. Often, the tension dissipates because the provoker sees the reaction they expected did not arrive. This is the Eastern approach. Observe, breathe, and act with awareness. By not reacting to every stimulus, we break negative patterns. We train the mind to respond from clarity instead of instinct. In time, this turns non-reaction into a natural first choice. Practicing non-reaction in daily life. Non-reaction sounds noble, but how does it work in everyday scenarios? Here are a few realistic examples. Workplace calm. Imagine a team meeting where a colleague publicly criticizes your idea. Many feel hurt and snap back. A non-reactive response might be to pause and listen fully. After they finish, you respond with, "I appreciate your perspective. I'd like to address your points calmly." This disarms criticism. Colleagues notice your poise. Sometimes the critic realizes you're unshaken and either quiets down or engages constructively. The meeting remains productive instead of derailed by drama. Classroom equanimity. Picture a teacher whose student answers a question incorrectly. A frustrated teacher might scold immediately. Instead, consider a quieter path. Don't raise your voice or roll your eyes. You might smile gently and say, "Thank you for trying. Let's walk through it again." This stillness shows respect and patience. The student feels safe to try again. The other students learn by example that mistakes aren't met with anger, and learning continues peacefully. In this way, non-reaction actually preserves trust and focus. Relationship resilience. In a personal relationship, spouses or friends sometimes get triggered by stress. Suppose one partner snaps, "You never help around here." The knee-jerk reaction might be defensive anger. That's not true. But practicing non-reaction means taking a breath before replying. You could respond, "I hear that you're upset. Let's talk about this calmly." By staying composed, you prevent a shouting match. You turn a fight into a dialogue. Later, reflecting on the situation together, both sides feel heard. Over time, this restraint builds respect and intimacy, because neither needs to fear explosive fights. Social media strategy. Even online, non-reaction applies. Imagine a public figure or a brand attacked by a troll on social media. Some leaders rise above the bait and simply respond kindly or not at all. For example, a CEO might answer with a factual clarification or politely disengage. This shows the audience a cool head. Often, the public rewards calm professionalism and dismisses the troll's negativity. In contrast, an angry viral retort could spiral into a PR crisis. Each of these scenarios shows that when we choose calm over conflict, we often get better outcomes. We preserve relationships, maintain our focus, and even earn respect. Non-reaction is an active choice. It means picking our battles and responding with awareness. Cultivating inner discipline. Techniques and tips. Building the habit of non-reaction takes practice. Here are some practical techniques to strengthen your mental stillness. Pause and breathe. When you feel irritated, stop for a moment. Take a slow, deep breath. The simple act of breathing deliberately activates your calm center ahead. Psychologists note that this brief break interrupts automatic anger. As Viktor Frankl emphasized, in that split second of pause is our power to choose our response. Use this pause to decide, will I react or will I respond thoughtfully? Observe without judgment. Practice mindful observation of your thoughts. When anger or frustration arises, notice it as a passing cloud rather than a storm to act on. You might silently label the feeling anger or hurt and let it float by. This non-judgmental stance often diffuses emotion naturally. Meditation or brief mindfulness sessions each morning can train your mind to stay the observer. Reframe the narrative. Ask yourself if the provocation will matter tomorrow or next week. Often we find it won't. For example, if a coworker cuts you off in a meeting, reframe it as possible stress on their part rather than personal disrespect. Cognitive reframing, shifting "they did this to me" into "this is happening, and I control how I respond" ahead empowers you. It stops you from feeling like a victim and reminds you of your own agency. Reflect on values. Keep in mind what really matters. Will reacting angrily align with your long-term goals and values? For a student, acting out might harm a record or reputation. For a professional, losing temper could damage a career. Reminding yourself of your integrity and goals makes silence or a gentle reply feel more natural. Empathy and compassion. Try to understand the other person's perspective. Often people lash out because they're hurting. If a friend seems terse, maybe they had a bad day. Responding with a supportive comment, "I'm sorry you're upset," can turn the energy around. Compassion doesn't mean you accept bad treatment, but it changes how you respond. Set boundaries when needed. Non-reaction doesn't mean tolerating abuse forever. It means not giving in to immediate emotional reaction. If a situation repeatedly harms you, you may need to quietly excuse yourself or address it calmly later. For instance, saying, "Let's talk when we're both calmer," is non-reactive but assertive. By regularly practicing these steps, you rewire your habits. Neuroscience shows that the more you pause and respond thoughtfully, the more it becomes second nature. Over time, the impulse to snap weakens. Instead, an inner calm strength grows, one that others will notice and respect. Conclusion: embrace your inner calm. The power of non-reaction lies in inner freedom. Each time you resist a knee-jerk response, you claim victory over your impulses. You choose your own path rather than being tossed by every word or setback. As Lao Tzu reminded us, mastering yourself is true strength. In practice, this mastery means having the discipline to pause, the compassion to understand, and the wisdom to act from your higher self. Now imagine adding these small pauses and choices into your daily life. In a month, you might find fewer conflicts, deeper relationships, and a steadier sense of confidence. In your profession, this calm can help you navigate crises with clear judgment. In your studies, it can help you focus and learn without distraction. Ultimately, non-reaction is about becoming the person you wish to be, grounded, wise, and kind, even when the world around you is noisy.